Let's talk about something that's been sitting in plain sight for over a year now. Something that the media dutifully covered, dramatized, and then quietly shuffled away once the narrative had done its work. I'm talking about the shooting at Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, July of 2024. The story was simple enough. A lone gunman on a rooftop, an AR-15, 8 shots fired. A bullet grazes Trump's ear, a supporter dies a martyr, the Secret Service eliminates the shooter. Within minutes, Trump is paraded before the cameras with blood running down his cheek, a perfect tableau of sacrifice and survival. His base takes as proof of divine protection. The timing couldn't have been more convenient. Embroiled in legal troubles, battered by scandal, suddenly, Trump was no longer the defendant, no longer the fraudster, but the survivor, the chosen one nearly taken from them. Yet, here we are, over a year later, and I invite you to look closely at Trump's ear. Not a scar, not a deformity, not even the faintest trace of trauma. Medical science is clear that human cartilage does not regenerate. It scars. It deforms. Ask anyone who's had their ear clipped in a fight, a car accident, or even a rough piercing. The scar tissue lingers for life. I know this from my own experience. I pierced my left ear back in 9th grade in 2009. I rarely wear an earring, sometimes going years without putting one in. And yet, the hole has never closed, because that's how human cartilage works. It doesn't heal clean. It doesn't erase damage. It carries the mark forever. And yet, Trump's ear is pristine, untouched, like nothing ever happened. Two possibilities emerge from this reality, and neither of them are comforting. The first possibility is that the shooting was staged. Think about it. You have a base already primed on decades of persecution narratives, always told their way of life is under attack. What better way to harden that feeling than a public bloodletting? A staged spectacle where one loyal cultist sacrifices himself, the president takes a symbolic wound, and the crowd watches history unfold. Remember, this is a man whose entire brand is built on television production, on crafting moments that live in the spectacle economy. A gunman willing to die for Trump would not be hard to find. Someone who believes they're serving the cause, guaranteed their name will be immortalized in whispered reverence. It would explain the miraculous healing. The wound was paint, staged blood, a shallow cut, a theatrical performance that transformed a floundering candidate into a resurrected figure. But then there's the second possibility, and this one goes far deeper than stagecraft. If Trump wasn't faking, if he really did take a bullet to the ear, then we have to face the uncomfortable fact that he shows no sign of it today, which leaves us with the conclusion that Trump is a reptilian. Not metaphorically, not symbolically, but biologically. A member of that ancient lineage of shapeshifters tied to the New World Order. The same bloodlines traced back through European aristocracy, through banking dynasties, through the shadows of power. Remember where his family originated. Bavaria. That's not just some random footnote in the family tree. Bavaria is the birthplace of the Illuminati. 1776, Adam Weishaupt and the network of secret societies that sought to manipulate world events from the shadows. The Trump lineage emerges from the very soil of that tradition. And what do reptiles do that mammals do not? They regenerate. Lizards can lose a tail, a limb, sometimes even parts of their organs, and grow them back. Cartilage is nothing to them. If Trump's ear truly was clipped by a high-velocity round, and yet his ear stands flawless today, what does that tell us? It tells us his biology doesn't match ours. He has the resilience of the bloodline. He has the regenerative traits of the cold-blooded elite that have manipulated human history for centuries while passing themselves off as men. Either scenario serves the same function. Myth-making. If it was staged, then Trump willingly bathed in the blood of his followers to ascend as martyr. If he is a reptilian, then the attack was nothing more than an inconvenience. His body corrected itself. The performance of vulnerability was enough to galvanize the base. And now the physical evidence is erased by the biology of a different species. Either way, the point wasn't survival. The point was power. To stand before the world, show blood, and then stand again days later at the Republican convention, patched up or miraculously healed, declaring himself the unkillable candidate. Consider the timing. The shooting happened at the precise moment when Trump was drowning in legal peril, indictments stacking like bricks, his empire teetering on collapse. And then suddenly, he's not the criminal. He's the target. His bloodied face floods every screen in America. Sympathy swells. His base locks down even harder. And a year later, the detail that should be most obvious, the ear, the wound, is never mentioned again. The press just moved on. They gave you the myth, and then they took away the evidence. This is where the dissonance sets in. For those who live in the world of facts and science, the absence of scar tissue makes no sense. For those steeped in conspiracy lore, it makes perfect sense. Too much sense. Because Trump has always been two things at once. The consummate con man staging one more performance, and the uncanny figure who doesn't quite belong to the species he claims. Either one explains the mystery. Neither one should make you comfortable. And maybe that's the real point. You don't have to pick one. Whether Trump is a TV producer staging martyrdom or a reptilian regrowing cartilage, the result is the same. A mythology designed to enthrone him above human frailty. A man who bleeds when it suits the cameras and doesn't scar when it suits the myth. A man who takes his family's Bavarian heritage and spins it into the new Illuminati right of power. A man who, whether by stagecraft or biology, has turned violence into his most potent campaign prop. That is the choice before us. Either stage theater or alien lineage. Regardless, the message is the same. Trump cannot be killed. Not politically, not physically, not spiritually. At least, that's what his story demands you believe. And once you accept that story, you no longer live in a democracy. You live in a cult of myth, bound to a figure who has transcended the ordinary boundaries of truth.